Welcome to the official Tiny Tour Tuesday kickoff in Piazza Navona. This is the Roman Vacations Live. The whole Roman Vacations crew is here, even though they don't want to be on camera. But here they come. There's James, there's G, there's Mircha. Everyone's here. And here we go.
We're going to go a bit around Piazza Navona, mainly focus on the fountain. It's going to be a tiny tour experience, 10 minutes only. FG is going to loop a bit around the square so you guys can see it's actually in the shape of a stadium. It's more of a running track stadium. Point is, the whole structure was built upon Roman ruins of an 80s after Christ stadium built by a Roman emperor called Domitian. Fun fact about Domitian, built a palace on the Palatine, put a stadium in it, ended up assassinated. However, his father built a stadium. Stadiums become stadiums and beget stadiums. Now, by the 1500s, however, you have a community formed around it. You're going to end up with mainly markets, a cattle market, livestock markets. Obviously, it's going to start a bit into a trading community with the blocks and buildings around. By the end of the 1500s, it's going to end up being a free, open area in the city with the markets being moved from here. And the Doria Pamphili family is going to move in with their palace on that side there. Going to end up with their main palace being built in the Baroque style. Late 1500s, early 1600s, Girolamo Rinaldini and his son Carlo Rinaldini ended up. It's a bit cold here. Follow me this way now. Now, the thing is that in the Baroque period, you're going to have the noble families of Rome and of Italy shifting hands throughout popes coming from different regions. Till eventually, 1644 to 1655, you end up with a Doria Pamphili Pope in the form of Innocence X. He's going to shift a bit of Vatican interest and Vatican finances towards the own area of his family's estates, mainly with the family mansion being right behind the building G showed you earlier. Interest is going to be put in, and let's try to move a bit this way so we stay a bit away from the road. Interest is going to be mainly put in the Church of St. Agnes on the left-hand side over here. G will probably show it to you. And Francesco Borromini and the same architects that built the family mansion, Rinaldini. Now, on this other side, however, you have the Baroque masterpiece of the square. You have the Fountain of the Four Rivers. The point of it is, it's supposed to be a metaphor of the papacy symbolized by the obelisk, 35 meters tall altogether, being supreme over the four main continents on which human expansion and mainly Christian expansion is going, with Europe being represented, touching the papal sigil right in the middle, with the proud blazon of the Doria Pamphili family being the dove and the olive branch, about as biblical as you can get. You also end up with one of the main drainages being the mouth of the catfish being a representative fish for the Danube River. Now, one thing that's quite interesting to note in many Baroque statues and paintings, most of them will have a 90-degree angle between kneecap and torso. Now, that's a nod to Michelangelo, which is the first man to start copying the Torso Belvedere. An almost epic in proportion as far as artists are concerned statue in the Vatican museums. Apparently represents Hercules, and it's done only by a Greek guy called Apollonius, but it could just be a tourist scratching into it. Go in the Vatican Museum and see it. However, it's missing the head, but it has a perfect body with 90 degrees between kneecap and torso. Michelangelo does it every year, and most other artists will give kind of a nod of the hat towards it by implying it. One thing, I don't know if the camera can catch it, but if you go a bit closer, notice the attention to detail. This is the Danube, the river spirit. Notice his lower back. He actually has a mole right on the lower back. I don't know if you can see it on the camera. Some of my favorite parts of it, the attention to detail that the artist actually has, putting moles. If not, don't worry. It's a Google search away. Follow me this way. Now, so the continent of Europe, Greek hairstyle, touching the papal sigil, pointing out he's the closest one. The other one would be America. You have the Rio Plata. Now, what we know of the Americas in the 1600s, with the fountain being made 1647 to 1651, mainly that they have wild horses, that they have cactus plants, that a lot of the Vatican's finances comes through Spanish money, and that the River Plata, the Rio Plata, is the one that's actually mainly expanded due to its soft flow, so therefore being a prime base of Christianity's expansion. So the main here should be the Rio Plata. One of the more controversial aspects of the fountain would be that two of the spirits don't have shackles. Two of them do, because two of the continents are slaving continents. It is an age in which Renaissance and Baroque artists are trying their best to point that out. If you look at the leg of the Rio Plata, he does have a shackle on the lower part. You'll notice the same on the Nile on the other side, but not on the Ganges due to Asia and Europe, mainly being more or less slave-free. Okay. Now, for ages, it's been believed that the statue is transfixed and horrified by the church built by Francesco Borromini, Bernini's enemy on the other side. If you do the math, fountain finished 1651, church starts 1652. Doesn't really work. In reality, the Rio Plata is actually scared by the snake, which is actually the temptation brought by the riches he's sitting on. So I hope G will show you the coins that he's sitting on. Follow me this way.
These are the coins here.
One of my favorite parts of it is, though, Bernini is one of the top tier individuals of his age. And imagine most of his fountain has one particular volume brought in by the Aqua Vergine that he can't really fiddle with. And the only drainage is on the other side in the mouth of the catfish you probably saw. So imagine the mathematics that goes into that. And yet, if a person diseducated doesn't really know how an armadillo looks, because armadillos are a symbol of South America, does point out the Asian living. And if you don't understand what I'm talking about, come a bit to this side. Do you see this crocodile slash armadillo slash turtle ninjas guy over there? Well, Bernini is definitely one of the best artists of his age, and already pointed out very, very intelligent. So if a guy like him doesn't know how an armadillo looks mainly like a man in scale armor with long lips, let's point out the age they're in. Just so you guys kind of get a level. So now, the Nile. Now, the thing is that up until the 20th century, in the advent of satellites, planes, helicopters, and more human interest, we had no idea where the Nile starts from. It's more based on seasonal floodings and such, as far as I understood. Don't take my word on that one. Go in the study. The Nile is absolutely fascinating. But notice one thing. The Nile statue here has his head covered. And the point for that is that we don't know its source, so it doesn't know where he is. Again, you notice a shackle on the leg, sadly. But one of the few things, because many of the statues are made in travertine, and apparently they're sculpted after Bernini designs, or by Bernini's students. One of the few things actually done by Bernini himself would be the palm tree next to it, symbolizing again Africa, and the lion on the left-hand side. Sadly, the lion was hit by hooligans about 10 years ago, and he lost one of his teeth, and it went down the drainage before anyone noticed. So therefore, it's a bit of a chipped tooth. If you notice the lower jaw. Follow me this way. And the Ganges, my favorite one. That's because I really like maps. And the point of it is, technically you should start from in front of the church, right? So you've already figured out which one's America due to the armadillo, cactus trees, 3 horses, money coming in, and so forth. Now, most maps of that age were incredibly Eurocentric, Pope in the middle. America was 2 blobs, India was a blob, Australia didn't really exist, sorry G. The point is that on most maps of that age, on the sides, you'd end up with something saying, here be dragons, right? So you know what's on the left of a map, what's on the right is Asia, so you have a dragon right below it. And the idea that here be dragons, as is the far extreme. It's represented by the Ganges, mainly due to the Portuguese and British expeditions up on it. It wouldn't be the Yangtze, which is the biggest in Asia. It's the Ganges. The Ganges happens to be the softest flowing from the beginning to the end navigable, so therefore you have the oar right in his hand. And with that said, guys, we're opening up the floor to question and answer. The tiny tour was tiny, that's why I talk fast. Thank you for your attention. Thank you for your time. And as always, pleased to have you with us. We're on vacation. Intra signing out. Thank you.
Nice. Unless you want to get in there with me.
Nope.
Nobody likes being on camera, so this is awesome. Oh, let me Can't hear me. Here we go. That's better. Sorry, I'm wearing my weird glasses. All right.
I speak fast, don't I? But it is supposed to be the tiny tour, and that's mainly in time frame.
This lights are
Yeah,
really
yeah.
awkward. There we go.
Still here.
If you aren't sure,
Always write it on a review. If it's 5 stars, I'll answer. If it's under, I'll send Fabio to answer them. And we're all going to be happy with that. Thank you.